Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, a second suspect arrested in the fatal shooting of a juvenile in Port Lavaca.
A waste disposal company continues to work with local regulators to clean contaminated soil in the Port of Victoria.
And the razor wire remains in place at the southern border following the Supreme Court's ruling. The details this evening.
We are going to have a lot of weather coming at us in the next 48 hours. We're already under a flood watch. Heavy rain will start along the Texas border and roll up into our area overnight. So tomorrow is going to be a very wet day. We could see some flooding as well, and we'll be talking about that coming up in a moment.
And is it the west side who will be the best side or the east side who will be the B side? I'll have that in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. This is an alert day, which means more rain is coming to the crossroads. Mac, how much rain are we expecting?
Well, that's the problem, Karina. These are going to be maybe 2 or maybe even 3 distinct waves of big thunderstorms. We've already had 2 to 4 inches, and we may likely get another 2 to 4 inches on top of that. So if you do the math, that's about 8 inches, and that's going to be a problem because we're going to start seeing flooding sometime on Wednesday. It's either the low water crossings or some of your county roads, even in the city where there's debris clogging, and then we may have some flooding problems there. So you have to consider, is it worth really driving through that, or should we just avoid that and not deal with it? But the alert day is for all day Wednesday, and then on Thursday we finally get a break. We'll be talking more about that coming up a little bit later on. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. A second suspect has been taken into custody in connection with a fatal shooting in Port Lavaca. 17-year-old John Michael Ruiz is charged with failure to report a felony or death results. Authorities say Ruiz was at a party earlier this month when a 16-year-old juvenile was shot. Authorities say Ruiz took the juvenile to the hospital and left him there. Ruiz is in the Calhoun County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bond. 17-year-old Frank Sandoval is accused of fatally shooting the juvenile. He faces 3 charges.
Earlier this month, some area residents expressed frustration over a foul odor near the Port of Victoria. Eventually, news of an accidental chemical release by Shamrock Products came out.
And some residents are still complaining. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick has the latest on the cleanup of the oil. Adarius?
February 3rd, an oil spill occurred at the Shamrock Products Port of Victoria facility, releasing toxic fumes into the community. Now a waste disposal company continues to work with local regulators to clean the contaminated soil in the area. Republic Services plans to move the soil to their treatment, storage, and disposal facility in Robstown. The exact amount remains undisclosed. However, San Patricio County Sheriff Oscar Rivera says they're expecting 50 to 60 trucks of soil starting Thursday, which is when weather conditions are expected to improve. Republic Services emphasize the capabilities of their Robstown facility. They say it's the ideal solution for the soil. Don, Karina, back to you.
Adarius, thank you. A Supreme Court ruling is putting added pressure on lawmakers to pass an immigration plan.
The court ruled just yesterday that Border Patrol agents are allowed to remove razor wire along part of the Rio Grande installed by Governor Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star.
But the Biden administration is suing Texas, arguing immigration is a federal matter, not the states.
It's not only affecting the communities here, it's affecting the people into the interior of the United States.
The Supreme Court is letting Border Patrol remove razor wire along part of the Rio Grande. It's from Operation Lone Star, a Texas initiative to stop migrants from crossing into the U.S. A new report says that effort has cost about $10 billion over the past 3 years.
Your schools everywhere in Texas need this kind of attention. Roads all through Texas need attention, our hospitals, our infrastructure.
We're here under the governor's order in order to protect Texas.
The Biden administration is suing Texas to stop its border efforts. It argues immigration is a federal matter, so the new ruling puts more pressure on Congress to address the crisis.
America's national security begins with securing and maintaining our borders.
Senate negotiators are working on a border security bill. They say a sticking point is how to pay for it. Another issue is that House Republicans are pushing for Trump-era border policies. Some say they won't compromise with Senate Democrats.
We're not there yet, but we'll keep going.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Reports today say the razor wire still remains in place along the southern border, even after the Supreme Court's ruling that allows its removal. A source familiar with operations says U.S. Border Patrol is currently reviewing the Supreme Court's order. That source says they don't anticipate the wire will be cut unless further guidance is provided or if an emergency response requires it.
I should add, CNN is just reporting that the head of Border Patrol just told them there is no timetable for the Border Patrol to remove the razor wire from the border.
That's right, and this is going to lead us to your Vera poll this evening. The question is, what should be the priority in border security decisions? Is it preventing illegal crossings, humanitarian treatment for migrants, balancing security with legal migration, or economic impact? According to our results, it looks like the highest percentage stands at 70% with it says preventing illegal crossings. Thank you for voting. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 10. Now, a new report on Operation Lone Star shows the state of Texas spent billions of dollars trying to curb illegal crossings. Governor Greg Abbott launched the program nearly 3 years ago. A report revealed nearly $10 billion were spent during that time, and law enforcement detained nearly 500,000 migrants. Texas has also taken several steps to protect the southern border, including the installation of razor wire and other barriers, as well as deploying state troopers. But critics believe this effort and money should go elsewhere.
Your schools everywhere in Texas need this kind of attention. Roads all through Texas need attention. Our hospitals, our infrastructure. Let's put that money to that.
Texas leaders say they needed to act because the federal government does not do enough to secure the border.
A man suspected of shooting and killing 8 people in suburban Chicago this weekend was related to most of the victims. This comes a day after the 23-year-old fatally shot himself after a confrontation with law enforcement near San Antonio. Authorities said Romeo Nance shot 7 people at 2 homes in Joliet on Sunday before randomly shooting 2 men at other nearby locations. Nance fatally shot himself Monday evening after U.S. Marshals located him near Natalia. That's about 30 miles southwest of San Antonio. A man from Trophy Club, a suburb of Dallas, is believed to be one of 2 Navy SEALs presumed dead after disappearing off the coast of Somalia nearly 2 weeks ago. Nathan Gage Ingram and fellow Navy SEAL Chris Chambers fell overboard while trying to stop a small ship suspected of trafficking arms to Houthi rebels. The 2 men were sent on a nighttime raid in the Arabian Sea when Ingram fell into the water during the mission and Chambers jumped in to save him. Ingram's family says they are still trying to get more information as to how this happened. President Biden highlighted reproductive rights at a campaign rally in Northern Virginia today. He was introduced by a Texas woman who says she nearly died after being denied an abortion in Texas. Amanda Zarowski said doctors only took action when she developed an extreme infection. Tuesday also marks the first campaign event of the year featuring both Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. This week, she also launched what is called a Reproductive Freedoms Tour.
San Antonio ISD schools reopened today after almost a week-long closure following last Monday's winter freeze. Heating problems forced the closing of those schools. Authorities said 1,100 climate control units were sent to different campuses as part of a contingency plan, so they would be warm or cool enough to support students. San Antonio ISD is asking a third party to conduct a thorough investigation to identify all causes that have contributed to the infrastructure failure.
Early voting for City of Victoria mayor runs through January 30th. Early voting is at the Dr. Patty Dodson Public Health Center, 2805 North Navarro, Classroom A. You can vote this week from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. On January 29th and 30th, you can vote from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And on the ballot is Peter Brown, Carissa Winters, Josephine Solis, Dwayne Crocker, Jacob Salceda, and Robert Bob Constantine. Join us Saturday, February 3rd for complete coverage of the special mayor election.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so when you're on YouTube you can get Crossroads Today. Stay with us. The jury selection for the Oxford shooter's mother begins. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, her reported involvement in the mass shooting.
Also ahead, U.S. Postal Services are slow in the Houston area. How one congressman plans to address the issue.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is seeking information about the murder of Raul Monroy. On October 9, 1997, the body of 25-year-old Raul Monroy was discovered at the 2000 block of East San Antonio Street. Monroy was wearing a black t-shirt, blue jeans, and black shoes. Police later discovered Monroy's 1977 Chevy pickup at a local bar. If you have any information about the murder of Raul Monroy, please call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. You can also submit a tip by using the P3 Tip app on your Android or Apple device, or by visiting our website at www.crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to an arrest or charges being filed, you can earn a cash reward. With Victoria Crime Stoppers, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
The manslaughter retrial for the man who fatally shot New Orleans Saints star Will Smith almost 8 years ago was delayed Tuesday after an alternate juror dropped out. 12 jurors and 2 alternates were chosen for the trial against Cardell Hayes, who insists he shot Smith in self-defense during an April 2016 confrontation after a car crash. But on Tuesday morning, one of the alternate jurors said they would be unable to be part of the trial because of an unspecified family issue. The judge said they could not move forward, so instead of starting opening arguments, they selected from a new 16-juror pool.
Tuesday, jury selection starts for the mother of the Oxford High School shooter. Jennifer Crumbley faces 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter for her son's actions. Prosecutors say she and her husband ignored Ethan Crumbley's mental health needs and made a gun accessible to him. Ethan Crumbley is serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole for the 2021 shooting at his Michigan high school. James Crumbley, the father, is facing a separate trial on the same charges as his wife, which is expected to begin in March.
U.S. Postal Service delivery services are slow in the Houston area.
The delays have now prompted a congressman to look into the slow mail in Missouri City.
So we didn't know how it was going to go, but we believed in it, what we did, and we knew it was the right move, and so we just stepped out in faith, literally.
And since they opened Stay Fresh with Peanut in 2020, the company has grown from a room in their home to a warehouse space. Peanut is George and Trudy May's son.
Who's that? Who's that on your label? Show him your label. That's his bottle. That's his face.
Who was born prematurely, weighing less than 2 pounds and beat the odds. The company that sells fragrance oils and aroma beads across the country ships out roughly 150 orders a day with USPS. But recently, they heard that there were issues with the Postal Service Processing Center in Missouri City.
Oh, well, last week, January 16th, there was 400 orders that were still pending that have not moved.
All of the orders have been picked up by USPS, according to the company, but just show the package acceptance is pending. The Mays have tried to be proactive with their customers and with shipping orders since switching to UPS.
Our business has slowed down because they can just order from another competitor that is not experiencing these delays with the distribution center.
U.S. Congressman Al Green says his office has received almost 90 similar complaints about the processing center in Missouri City. He's now demanding a fix and plans to meet with the Inspector General.
This is not a secret society. It's not something that's esoteric. It should be known to all how it functions.
As for Peanut and his family,
can't help but worry to set in. Are you going to have enough orders to pay? You still got to pay the rent, and you still got to pay your overhead if you have some.
One of the original Selma foot soldiers who was beaten during the Bloody Sunday Civil Rights March in Selma, Alabama, has died. 94-year-old George Sally passed away last Thursday. He was one of the marchers beaten and sprayed with tear gas by Alabama state troopers on Bloody Sunday in 1965. Since his passing, both the Selma and Montgomery mayors have paid their respects.
People like George Sally, I think it's important for us to remember who they were, what types of contributions they made, and to humanize these people because they are us. And then we could understand more clearly the roles that we now are empowered to play.
Congresswoman Terry Sewell said Sally attended each commemoration of the Bloody Sunday March and inspired the younger generations.
Well, folks, we've got a lot of weather headed toward us. In the next 24 hours, we could have some significant rainfall. Right about now, we're, of course, in the balmy weather, 68 degrees. We got up to 71 today. Not exactly January feeling out there, but the overnight low was only 62. We have only had 0.02 of an inch of rain for today since yesterday. But the big thing is, of course, all kinds of alerts. We have an alert for tomorrow for the possibility of getting up to 2 to 4 inches of additional rain. Okay, so you add 4, and then you add 4 on top. That's 8. 8 inches of rain would be a flooding situation for us, and that's what we're going to be in a couple of hours. So we'll talk more about it coming up, but we got to get ready for it. Well, good evening, everyone. You got to get your rain gear handy, and if you have a kayak or a rowboat, keep that handy too. I'm not kidding. We got a lot of rain headed in and we could have some flooding problems. Now, we are already under this dark green, which is the flood watch. The rivers already are in flood warnings because they're rising from the 4 inches of rain we had on Monday. And today's Tuesday, and tomorrow's Wednesday. So only a 1-day notice to get significant rainfall, we're going to have a problem. So here we are right about now, no shower activity in the county. We do have some thunderstorms up there toward the Gonzales area. So they're getting something right now. What we're looking at is out there on the Texas border. That is a area of lifting that is going to trigger some heavy rain showers tonight. I'm talking right after midnight, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. I think it's going to be thunder and lightning around here. And so we are looking still at that big trough pumping all that Pacific moisture up into our area. This is what we call the tropical tap. Now remember, the Pacific is warmer than normal because it's an El Nino year, and that's what that means. So when you get moist tropical air on top of us with all this volatility and of course the lifting caused by the atmosphere, we're going to get some heavy rain. Now, here's Future Tracker, and this is what I'm talking about. All right, we start off, what, 6 p.m. Tuesday, right? We're going to go forward to midnight Wednesday, which would be tonight, all right? Big clump of storms rolling through our area. Actually, I think this is a little bit early. I think it's more like 2 a.m., but that's what the model says. Then we go forward to the morning hours, and you can see at about sunrise, we've got another cluster of storms pretty close to us, if not on top of us. And then we go forward to noontime. You can see we still have some thunder shower activity around the area, but the county seems to be clearing. And then you think it's over, but no, not necessarily. There's Wednesday afternoon, and then boom, this is Wednesday night into Thursday morning, should be the last cluster coming through. This is going to be another big problem because as it moves through, we may have a total of additional 2 to 4 inches of rain, and that's a lot of rain to deal with. And by then, we'll start getting a little bit of a north wind, and that's going to help us out. Now, here is what Future Tracker says. Okay, how much rain are we going to get, Future Tracker? And it says, oh, we're going to get about 2 inches. Okay, that's the first wave of storms. Then we added on top of that the second wave of storms coming in, and we're up at 3.5. So the likelihood of us getting this is very high. Again, this is what it looks like in the synoptic world. Synoptic is a really good word. Look it up in your Google there. Synoptic means the big picture. That's what it means. And so this is the warm sector. Lots of moisture. Warm air can hold a lot of water. And then when the cooler air gets in above, right there, which is with this front, that is why this is going to trigger off. Now, then we get a little bit of a break. We get a second little system. This is on Friday. But look at that. By Saturday, it all goes away. And Sunday, we're going to have some nice high pressure on top of us. So, again, here's the forecast for those of you in Port Lavaca. What does it say? Thunder showers. High temperature only about 70 degrees. Tomorrow in Cuero, thunder showers with a north wind finally kicking in late in the day, but only a high of 63. So again, an alert day for Wednesday. Frontal system late at night will give us a bit of a clearing by Thursday morning, then a little cloud cover, but then Saturday morning a little drier front comes in, and that finally gives us cooler and clearing weather as we get to the weekend. So keep your phone handy. We'll send you all kinds of notices in case any kind of advisory comes to pass. But first you got to get Crossroads Today on your cell phone with that QR code. Karina, we'll toss it back to you.
Thanks, Mac. And now let's toss it to sports with reporter Zach Brown.
Well, we know about East and West, but Bloomington welcomes Shiner here from the boys and girls coaches of the Bobcats program coming up in sports. Bloomington Bobcat girls have been killing it this year out on the hardwood as they control their destiny to a playoff spot. The man in control of that show, new head coach Miguel Rodriguez, who hails all the way from El Paso, Texas, came a long way to Bloomington. Not only is he impressed by how hard the girls work, but he's grateful for the support the entire Bloomington community has given to him, and he credits that to having success.
I quote Bruce Lee. He says, "You can never be the best you can be if you are not in the best shape you can be in." And they bought into that, and everything we do, they do 100%. I mean, they work well together, they get along, and like I said, they bought in. And I just been like, wow, look at how hard they work. You just see it. And at the school, you hear them talking, you see them excited. The girls are excited, walking with their heads up and inviting people to the games. And I'm very happy with the crowds that we get.
How about another team setting new standards in that very same gym? The boys team, who are 5-0 in district play, also looking fantastic and confident. Just like the girls, they get Shiner tonight. Their game will be at 7:30 in the Bloomington gym as well. The boys have come a long way, starting to see their hard work pay off, just trying to keep their foot on the pedal.
It's nice to see the fruit of the labor, and these kids deserve it. People think that it's a fluke, and it's not. These are things that, like, we actually, myself, my athletic director, assistant athletic director, my coaching staff, these are things that we actually work on every day, and we preach it every day, and just constantly tell them to do their job and let the rest take care of itself. We have to keep the hunter's mindset. So go into every game thinking that every team is just as good as you, but it's your job to prove that you're better than the next team.
As I said, their game 7:30 tonight in Bloomington. It's a very big day here in Victoria. It is East versus West Day for the boys. This matchup has been dominated by the East Titans in recent memory. They swept the season series last year, and they took the first game of the rivalry this year. That game set for 6:30, about 5 minutes away at Victoria West. For the East and West girls, they will also battle it out. That game will be at Victoria East. The Lady Titans took the first game, but West did come out swinging for a large portion of the first quarter. We'll see how they respond in round two. That game also 5 minutes away. There's a new class headed to Cooperstown, one of them very much beloved in the state of Texas, and that is Adrian Beltre, who made it on his first try. His number was already retired with the Rangers, and he is now in the Cooperstown Hall of Fame. The other two elected, Todd Helton and Joe Mauer. Astros great Billy Wagner not elected to the Hall. By the way, Billy Wagner just 5 votes short. He has 1 more year on the ballot next year. He'll probably get in, but should have got in this year. That's it for your sports. Donna Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. We're going to be back in a moment. The James Webb Space Telescope shows us a new view of the Milky Way like we've never seen before.
Finally tonight, a new image from the James Webb Space Telescope shows a stunning satellite galaxy of the Milky Way. NASA says star-forming regions, like the one you're seeing there, are of interest to astronomers because their chemical composition is similar to that of the gigantic star-forming regions observed when the universe was, well, only a few billion years old. That's right. The James Webb Telescope was launched in December of 2021 and is designed to conduct infrared astronomy. Those are just amazing.
That's incredible.
Pictures.
Yeah.
More than amazing, that telescope is going to rewrite all of our books. Because I grew up learning about the Big Bang, that it was like hiss, and boom, there was a universe. Well, now it's wrong. They're throwing that theory out. They're going to have to figure out a whole. Einstein's going to be in trouble now. He's going to have to go, let me figure this out again.
And if I made some Milky Way jokes, I'm sure I'd get a few snickers.
There's one.
But there's nothing to laugh about with this rain coming this
right.
way. More rain.
But don't forget the Mars bar. Hey.
Oh my goodness.
Well, yes, folks, there is more rain coming. We've got to get ready for it. This is not a joking matter, even though we like to have fun up here. Significant rainfall coming in after midnight tonight. Now, remember, Monday it was kind of like a steady downpour. It's going to be like that overnight and through most of your Wednesday. We have it as an alert day. Many of you, if you can stay off the roadways, do that. Many of your trucks that are going to be rolling around are going to be having trouble. So we're going to have flooding by tomorrow evening, and we'll be certainly here to watch it for you.
Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you tonight at 10.